Hey guys, this is Michael with Quiet Lawn. I hope you're doing well. The topic of this video is just, kind of talking about how our business did last year in 2025 and just finding out kind of the consensus out there, how your business did, if you experienced the same things that we did. Our business for the last 2 years has shrunk a little bit. It shrunk in 2024 by about 10%, and then we shrunk again in 2025 another 10%. Part of that was we lost a bigger contract, Christmas light contract that we had. It wasn't one that we wanted to continue. It was kind of a, not a good commercial job. It wasn't easy to work with the people involved with it. But that was definitely a big hit. As I've mentioned in other videos, you can see the economy is definitely turning. Building, at least in our area, I don't know if it's the same in your area, building has slowed down a lot. Construction has slowed down a lot. New home sales. And when you have a recurring, you offer a recurring service, I think what happens is, you have this natural attrition rate. Attrition is like the percentage of customers you lose every year. And you might lose customers for various reasons. It could be that your service, didn't live up to their expectations, or it could be things that are uncontrollable to you, like, they move or they pass away, which unfortunately happens, fairly frequently, especially here when most of our customers are retirees. But stuff like that happens, they sell their house. What happens, I think, is, your growth shrinks because, a lot of our new customers, the source of a lot of our new customers, at least the last, 8 years or so, have been from new home sales. With new home sales decreasing a good bit in our area and probably in your area too, you're still losing all those customers through attrition. Your people are moving away, they're, passing away, whatever else happens, they're not happy with your service, but you're not getting as much of an influx of new customers because building slowed down. Everybody that's moved already has already figured out what they're using for their service, and you're basically just swapping those same existing customers. You're not having this massive influx of new potential customers like we've all been flooded with, or most of us have been flooded with the last decade or so. But our business shrunk a little bit. We had some good, a lot of good things. We're continually making improvements. We're continually moving towards the direction of our recurring services, our pest control. Pest control grew a little bit. It didn't grow as much as we wanted to, but it's definitely grew a lot, grew a good bit last year, and we want to continue that. But I really wanted to get feedback from you guys because I did read an article. I can't remember. I think it was from Aspire Software or something like that. And they did a survey, and the survey said that 42% of other landscape companies also saw their business shrink a little bit in 2025. And I know it's a mixed bag, and I know it probably depends on where you're at in your business. If your business is just starting out and you're, under 100, 200, 300,000, and you're out there and you've got that energy and, depending on what your pricing is like and all that stuff, I know that that's a very different stage of growth. You might have seen a lot more growth. I would be curious to get your feedback on that, but also, some businesses that are, 4 or 5, 500,000, million, three quarters of a million. I'd like to kind of get feedback from you guys. What did your business grow or shrink this past year? Were there certain areas of your business that shrunk? Like you saw a lot less install work, a lot less paper patio type jobs, sod jobs, mulch installations. Did you see mowing increase or decrease? What did you notice in your business, last year, and then how did your business do overall? But I hope you're all well. Just a little update on us. We're February right now, mid-February. We're getting ready to go into mowing season, which will hopefully start here in a few weeks. We've had very unusually cold winters in the South these past couple years. I think that's going to change. I think we're supposed to get El Nino back in, and it's going to give us some milder winters. But the cold winters has resulted in us having a later start, because typically through our winter in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, we get a lot of warm days. Like we'll normally get, at least 1 or 2 60, 70 degree days during the week, each week. That was normal up until a few years ago. And then all of a sudden, a few years ago, it's like winter, you know, everywhere else. Like where I moved from in the mountains, it gets cold in October, November, December, and it stays cold until April or May. And it's just, you know, cold the whole time. You don't really get those breaks like you used to during the winter. But it just, you know, leads to the grass taking longer to come out of dormancy and for the season to kick up, and for people to order stuff like mulch. You know, people don't really buy, you know, people don't really think about mulch or their landscaping when it's, you know, 20, 30, 40 degrees outside. It's during those warm, you know, 70-degree days where people feel like spring's coming about, and they start looking outside, they start getting outside the house. That's when they start thinking about that. So I think that's normal, you know, that stuff like that is going to slow, you know, those types of work, those types of work in the spring. And that could be a part of our, you know, you know, revenue drop a little bit, is we just haven't done a lot of projects in the last couple years. You know, part of that was intentional, trying to get away from project-based work and get to more recurring-based work. But part of it just, it was just less demand, because, you know, when we typically have a pretty warm February before, you know, now it's still really cold in February and March, and, you know, we didn't really get a lot of mulch sales during that time like we have in previous years. But anyways, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. Please let me know how you're doing. You know, what happened with your business, what services you saw, you know, decreased demand for, what services still kept a lot of demand, you know, what was still going strong. And I'd love to get some feedback from different people, different size businesses, different parts of the country, and see how you did. But thank you all for watching, as always. Hope you're doing well. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next one.